Aloha, beautiful soul, and welcome to this next episode of the Soul Waves podcast. And if you noticed, I am recording this as a meditation type form for this podcast episode. And the reason is what this podcast episode is about. The title of this episode is Free to Be, The Art of Letting Go of Limitations. And it's actually been inspired in part by several goddesses and even a gentleman, God, who has messaged me with some questions and with some statements and an ongoing discourse as well, which I will share with you. And it is going to cover the next at least 2 episodes. It may be more. However, this first one is all about, in essence, a death so that we can come into a rebirth. And so I found it to be really apropos for where I am at in Saipan. We are on the heels of Sinlaku. Sinlaku is the current tropical storm that could turn into a typhoon or a strong typhoon in the coming days. As of the moment I am recording this, it will be launched on the Sunday, my time on this side of the earth. However, I'm recording this on the Friday evening, and we have just gotten word a few hours ago that we are on a watch. And I found it very interesting because Sinlaku actually it was a god of sorts. I went to look it up, and it basically refers to a sacred figure or a goddess in the Micronesian tradition associated with nature, fertility, and cultural guidance. And it's also, she's also kind of considered a divine cultural hero in the influence of reshaping human life, society, and customs. Sinlaku is nay a distant god, but a figure who interacts with the people, providing wisdom and bringing stability and order to communities. So I found it very interesting and how it was an alignment, and how this episode and the next one are going to be paired together, that I will be recording the next one next week. However, it's about a death and rebirth process. And so if you actually break up the words, we've got sin, which the word actually sin has been given a bad rap, actually. Sin in and of itself means to simply miss the mark, to make a mistake. In other words, it's a error that we make. Nay something necessarily to be punished, as has been talked about in the Bible, that somehow being a sinner is bad or what have you. It simply means that we have made a mistake. We are looking for a course correction. And then laku means something that's sellable or in demand or popular. It's something that sells well or is desirable. So it's interesting how opposite the 2 words are, yet when they meet together, these 2 simple words, they become something completely different. And so it's actually important for this episode, and you will see as I dive into it why. So what I wanted to share with you is actually something that is on with a divine goddess that I am mentoring. And I will keep her name in anonymity. And first, before I dive into this, if you have a question, or if you have something you wish to share that you'd love to have feedback on an episode, please feel free to reach out to me. And if you are concerned about your privacy, I can keep it in anonymity, making you anonymous, and or I can change your name if need be necessary, to protect your innocence in that sense. Nay, innocence in the sense of guilt, innocence in the sense of who you are as your soul. And I could even go so far as to speak of your soul signature name, or your soul name that we come here with. We have earthly names for each of our lives. However, the totality of our soul has its own vibrational frequency resonance and energy. And so I could even go that way as well, unless many kin of your unique soul signature name, then anyone would necessarily kin that I'm speaking about you. Either way, if you feel to reach out to me, I am always here for you. And this is a lot of times where the inspiration comes from, is from Source, the divine, and also those of you who reach out to me. So this goddess in particular is one who I have been mentoring for some time, and she and her family have been going through a really rough go of it in the last few years, related to a family member who is dealing with the big C, as they call it, cancer. Now, as someone who has healed from cancer, I can deeply understand where she is on the path, and also her family is on the path. And so there has been an ongoing discourse that is related to this. And there is something related to a love that's there between her parents. And it is sometimes very subtle, and anything is really said. And there is this sense of her mum feeling as if she's really surprised by her father's caring for her, although they are divorced officially. They have been living separately for many years now, and they still very much are in love with one another. However, most recently, because of the cancer that her mum has been dealing with, he has become much more affectionate and caring in his level of caretaking after her. And so we were in discourse about this, and I was sharing with her that the reason for this from a deeper soul level is, and this is where the free to be, the rising of the phoenix comes in, where we go through a death in letting go of our limitations. He's letting go of his limitations because it is often very difficult as men in general. Divine masculine men often struggle with the idea of mortality. Now, all of us, to a certain extent, do. We have this kind of belief that, it'll not happen to us. That is something that we just don't talk about. And we just go about our lives until it happens to us, or to someone that we kin, or that we love, that we know, that we love. And so it brought him into this sense of realizing seeing with real eyes his own mortality, and also that of his wife. And it's something that men in particular struggle with in general, because even though we all collectively to a certain extent tend to fear death, and or feel like it's not going to ever happen to us, we kind of develop this kind of invincibleness about it. Or something like, we have loads of time. Or that sort of thing, where it's not going to happen to me just now, or to those I love. And the older that I get, the more I come to understand, I've had many dear friends of mine who have passed on already. I have had many who I have loved and cherished pass on. Some way beyond their earthly time, and some taken too soon, as we would often say. However, it's very interesting and fascinating for us to see that there is this tendency for us to feel that invincibility, like, oh, I've got time. And being that I have had 12 NDEs, near-death experiences, literally dying 12 times, and my last one being 10 year gone, I came to understand in each one, you don't have time. You just don't have time, because none of us are getting out of here alive. We are all going to pass on at some point. And even those of us who tend to think, oh, I'm leaving a legacy behind of something, whence in reality the truth is that even 100 years from now, most of what is here will be gone. Most will be free from being remembered. And so we see things like Sinlaku coming through, and other floods and fires and natural disasters, and some nay so natural, occurring as a purging, a cleansing, a letting go, a releasing, to come into that place of understanding that we are nay so invincible. Now, from the spiritual perspective, the soulful perspective, we are infinite. As soul, we are infinite. And we just transform into different forms, into other incarnations, into other dimensions, multi-dimensions. We are beyond being 3D or 5D. We are multi-D. And so we have that invincibility in that sense. However, from the human perspective, we are nay getting out of here alive in this human body. And so when something like a cancer or a Sinlaku, a fire like what I went through in Lahaina, several years gone now, and I lost everything, it's a form of its own death. And we tend to gravitate onto those things as if they are a god. And we hold on to them so tightly, or we run the other way and kind of bury our head in the sand, ostriching. Whence we are really meant to be in the present moment, which also encompasses the past and the future. And we further were having it in this discourse about the fact that her father admitted that he really doesn't deal with things until and unless he needs to. And he said it was because of his tendency to be in the Buddhist traditions, which speaks about living in the now. And I went on to share with her that unfortunately, and this too is a part of the death and rebirth process, if you will, unfortunately there are so many folk on this earth who have that flawed premise from what Buddha went through. And they tend to take the teachings that Buddha taught and the isms that are around, whether it's Buddhism or it's Catholicism or Judaism, whatever is the ism, that tends to make it such an extremism, speaking of isms. So you have many spiritually like-minded folk who go so far and take these teachings to an extremism that, oh, we need to be in the present moment and sod the past and sod the future. Whence Buddha actually taught it is both and. Whence he received enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, he came to understand it was both and at the same moment. It is both and at the same moment. rather than the either or. And so oftentimes folk tend to grasp onto these concepts and have limitations and argue for those limitations by staying in a box, confined, a prison, if you will, because of these beliefs, and they utilize it as a coping mechanism instead of truly what it's meant for. Enlightenment being both and, which means it's both being in the now and also addressing the things that are here and what we and are here in the now, and what is also called as the past, quote unquote, or the future, quote unquote. Because if you think about it and you feel into it and feel this into your body just now, any moment that you are accessing, and this is something that I have been saying for many a year. I can remember having a satsang group about, oh my gosh, probably 22 year gone, in which I brought forth the concept then of multidimensionality. And this was before quantum physics had come out with any of this research in the mainstream and things of that nature. And so it may have even been longer ago than that when I did this satsang. However, I spoke about multidimensional consciousness then, and how we are, as soul, we can be in more than one place at one time because we are infinite, and how the past is in the now, in the present moment, in the Om, the one moment, and so is the future. Because anytime you are attempting to access what we call as the past, even something like I just spoke about of the Lahaina fire that happened 3 year gone. On the calendar, it happened 3 year gone in the August. It'll be 3 year. However, once I'm accessing it, can I literally, save for a time machine, which I have all of us to be able to have the capability to go jump into one at the present moment, and yet in another parallel universe we do, in this physical now moment of this earth as we are in, we then have a time machine to go access all of us, to go physically back into the past. So any moment we are accessing the past, we are accessing it as a projection in our mind, in a vision in our mind, in a feeling, in a sensation in our mind and in our body, as if it is here in this now moment. So the past is actually in the present. And the same thing with the future. Let's say you're getting ready to go on holiday to Spain, and your consciousness is already there. Let's say your holiday is made for another month. This is being recorded in April of 2026. So let's say it's May of 2026 that you are going on holiday to Spain. However, you're accessing Spain right here, right now, in the present moment. Your physical body may not be there yet. However, your soul and your consciousness is. So this is why folk often say, I feel like I'm on holiday, or something to this effect. I feel like I'm on holiday, even though I'm not there yet. And it's because of something that I talk about on my website called the sacred I, or the sacred yes. The moment you say your sacred I, your sacred yes to the universe about anything, it automatically puts that into motion, even if the physicalness of it has yet to occur. And so, inevitably, we are meant to come into this understanding that we are meant to address and deal with, or heal with, better said, heal with and through our limitations, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, rather than sticking our head in the sand and ostriching. And oftentimes what will happen is that Buddha, because he knew this and he taught this, so many will forget or nay teach it at all, and or deliberately or unconsciously spiritually bypass such and take these teachings to this extreme form so they can avoid and have those limitations, and they can avoid taking accountability and respondability, ability to respond, or responsibility for their issues, shortcomings, traumas, triggers, and wounds. And so this is about coming into being able to let go of those limitations, those fears, those sabotaging behaviors, the stuckness. So, is there something in your life that you feel is unsolvable? Something that you feel that you begin really working on and you really start feeling empowered in, only to end up being stuck due to a fear, a limitation that you have in your mind or in your body, or a sabotaging behavior that kicks in? There is actually a deeper reason and reasons for this happening again and again. And this is why I actually have this in a meditation form at this present moment. And the video that you are seeing is of the Bonny place that I used to sit on the shoreline here in Saipan. If any of you have seen some of my more recent videos on TikTok and other social media, you will notice that the palm tree that you are looking at in this video, as I am speaking this podcast, is Namor. It died in its physical form. It went through a death. It became that freeing to be. It was free to be and collapse itself into the sea. It let go of its limitations of just being a palm tree and went back into the sea, back into source, and it will reincarnate as something else. Perhaps maybe an animal, perhaps a human, perhaps the speck of sand that it rests upon now, or anything other in between. Yet this palm tree is so very significant to understand that the stuckness of the fear, the limitations, the sabotaging behaviors, and in some cases, the feelings and emotions or energy and motion, they all have one big thing in common. And that thing that they have in common is they are actually afraid. You think you're afraid, yet those things are actually afraid of being heard or seen, because, I will say that again, the biggest thing that stuckness, fear, sabotaging behaviors, limitations, and some feelings and emotions all have in common is that they are afraid of being seen. They are scared of being seen. And because they are so afraid of being seen, what we end up doing is suppress rather than address. Those things, the fears, the limitations, the sabotaging behaviors, they all want you to stay in that pattern of repeating it again and again, and for a reason. Why, you may ask? Because once you see them for what they really are, you will discover that there is free from being any truth to them. There is nay anything, nothing there in the sense of that stuckness, limitation, sabotage, fear. It's actually a cover. It's actually a mask, if you will, covering up what is underneath it. So that the fear, the sabotaging, the limitation, the stuckness is actually all about a deeper emotion, energy in motion, that is being invited to be revealed, to be addressed rather than suppressed, to express rather than suppress. And that is what each of those things are afraid of, is that you will see beyond the mask. So does anybody wonder why and what the deeper meaning of the whole 2020 scenario was all about? We were told to cover up, to mask ourselves, instead of really coming to look beyond the mask. Because your mind, your understanding, knows that this is something that happened long ago, that the wounds that you had in your childhood or earlier experiences or in another relationship or what have you, that they happened long gone now. Yet your body keeps it within your somatic memory, your bodily memory, and often feels and remembers it as if it just happened just now. Some fears, limitations, stuckness, sabotage, it doesn't just live in your thoughts. Rather, it lives within each breath that you breathe, within that knot that's in your stomach or your solar plexus going funny, or your sacral chakra that is the center of emotions feeling all jumbled up. That's where this gut feeling that we talk about is. Intuition actually comes from the heart. Gut feeling comes from a fear, a hypervigilance, because it comes from your nervous system that is constantly being in a hypervigilant state. And it is only once we actually, in our body, feel safe, once our body feels truly safe, and our nervous system is calm and balanced, and our emotions are balanced. When your emotions, your energy and motion and feelings are heard, seen, understood, acknowledged, allowed, given permission to be, free to be, that it can, as in your body, and you can be free. Free to be at ease. Otherwise, the pattern just keeps repeating itself again and again in these silent and naso-silent ways. So I'm now going to invite you to think of, bring into your mind, into your body, into your being, every limitation, fear, or sabotaging that you think that you have. Something you feel you just can't do. Perhaps it's a limitation or a fear that you just can't stop being on the drink, or that you can't make enough money, Or I am afraid to be vulnerable and open my heart to someone. So I sabotage these things. And now, if you think that stuckness, that limitation, fear, or sabotaging behavior is you, and your identity, in other words, you identify with it so much that it is you, and who you are, and you take it on as if it belongs to you, then you're going to have a really hard time letting go of it. Because your body and your nervous system, in order to remove it, would literally be the death of you. And figuratively be the death of you. Because it really thinks that it is you. So what if instead you could understand that stuckness, that fear, that limitation, that sabotaging behavior is simply a pattern? A well-meaning pattern that you have created and conditioned yourself to be as a survival coping mechanism in your childhood or at other points in your life that ye had to suppress and did not address due to your feeling heard, seen, loved, and understood then. And instead of labeling yourself as, some people would say, a people pleaser or someone who's stuck, instead perhaps maybe you could understand that you are you and that you just have a pattern of people pleasing or being stuck or having a limitation. And that just simply that shift can help you to see the pattern, that it served its purpose well then. Yet now, in this this one moment of the now, this present moment, it just no longer serves you anymore. And then you can be able to release it through seeing it. Because remember, what is it that these limitations, stuckness, fear, sabotaging behavior, what is it the most afraid of? It's afraid of being seen. So by just simply seeing that it's a pattern, rather than that it's actually you, the literal seeing of it has you release it. And that begins with you tuning into your body and listening. Because here's the amazing and exciting part. The part of you that thinks this is too hard to do, of tuning into your body and going deep and listening to what is there, of such feelings and emotions, energy and motion, that are underneath all of these fears, limitations, stuckness, and sabotaging patterns, is simply just there to protect you, as it did once the pattern first began in your childhood, or whenever that pattern started for you. So what if instead of suppressing, you start right here, right now, in this this one moment, this present, to give it the present, the gift of addressing it. Address rather than suppress. Express rather than suppress. Feel to heal by being in the present. In the presence of the present, the gift of what is here. Healing, kind of a combination of feeling, healing what's here. Feel what is here now so as to heal. Because it is simply through your allowance, your acknowledgement, your acceptance of it that has you free to be. So now I invite you to simply close your eyes. Take some slow, deep Buddha belly breaths. Breathing in deeply into your belly. And have it expand as you breathe in. And releasing out of the mouth that first breath. In a cleansing breath. And on your next deep breath in, breathing deeply into your belly, expanding your belly as you do, feeling this calmness, this centeredness, this safety of the presence of the now moment, the source, the God, the Spirit that is here now. Keeping you safe. You are safe in this moment to feel whatever it is that you need to feel. And tune into your body and what is here. What emotions, feelings are inside the box that stuckness, fear, sabotage, and limitation are holding on to. I invite you to open the box, see what is there, feel what is there, allow what is there. And I will close this podcast with the audio version of a poem that I created that goes hand in hand with this podcast episode. It is called You Are Safe. And I will provide that video here, along with the video Feel to Heal that I recorded back in 2014. May this bless you in love always, in all ways. And if you want to ken or know more, and you just need someone to hold your hand and help you to shift this, and to walk you through the process and to go even deeper than what I went into in this podcast episode, feel free to reach out and book in a session with me now. I am always here for you, holding space for you, holding your hand, walking you through what it is that you're going through. I am here with an ear. And so now, enjoy the poem and the Feel to Heal.
You are safe. You are safe to feel what you feel, to think what you think, to experience what you experience. For everything you are experiencing is occurring to let you know that you are safe enough right now, in this moment, to feel such. You are safe in the arms of love, Source. You are safe in my arms. You are safe to fully be who you are with me. All of you. To share your truth. To feel fully out whatever is occurring within you. Knowing that I will never judge you, blame you, abandon you, ridicule, or reject you for how you feel or what you think or are experiencing. Nothing will happen to you in expressing what you need to express. Whatever arises within you and through you, I open my arms and simply accept you and love you right here, right now, for whatever it is you feel, think, and experience. I am your sanctuary. I am your refuge. I hold you in love and acceptance. I hear you. I feel your pain. I feel your suffering. I hear your heart. I'm here for you as you empty your heart of your pain. Know that I am here for you, holding you in compassion and love. As I hear you, I hear your heart and allow you to empty your heart. For in your knowing you are safe is where everything you are resides. Freedom, joy, bliss, infinite possibilities, love, deep, deep love. You are safe before, during, and after all you feel. Knowing that as you feel full out what you feel, feeling it through, you are safe enough through it all and still safe once you have felt it through. For as you flow through in such safety with me, feeling full out what you are thinking, feeling, and experiencing, you are then releasing, healing, and transforming it for you and for all of the collective consciousness too. So it is important for you to think it, feel it, experience it all, and let it all flow through you. And know that it is okay for you to do so. It is okay, and you are okay and safe to do so for you and for all of humanity. Because you are giving yourself, me, and all a great gift of service in feeling such full out, in feeling safe to do so. And I thank you for allowing me to be that safeness, that sanctuary for you and with you. Know you are always safe with me. My arms protect you, hold you, guide you. You are love. You are loved. I'm here, right here. I love you.
Hello, you beautiful souls. I just thought I'd do a Facebook Live video here to capitalize on something that came up last evening. So I'm going to, if you pardon me, put on my reading glasses, and I'm actually going to pull this up and speak about it, as I promised I would. So this is actually created to assist several people. A gentleman who I mentor, who we were discoursing about this on. Hello, Pamela. I have my reading glasses on, I can actually see. But I wanted, before I go into that, I wanted to say thank you to all of you beautiful divine feminine goddesses. I'm overwhelmed. I released one of my songs yesterday. I've been in the process, as some of you have, I've been in the process of recording and also remastering some recordings that I've done and whatnot of 4 different albums. And so a lot of you have been asking me, okay, so what albums are you doing? So I have one album that is going to be on my harp, playing me harp and me guitar. And then the other album is going to be Songs for the Inner Soul Child. And this is for divine feminine goddesses as well as divine masculine and beautiful gods as well. And so I do have a song coming for that as well, and in that album. And then I'm going to have a Lemurian light language album as well, which I was just singing in light language. And then a meditation album as well. So this is kind of like the culmination of like years of songs I've written, chants I've written, and zillions of things that have come through me and whatnot, but I just haven't completely put into recording fully. My last album actually was in 2013, so it's been 5 years since I've done an album. So I was like, right, okay, it's time. So not just one album, but 4 albums. So that will be coming out this autumn at some point. Let's see. Hello, Carl. Hello, Melissa. 2 Melissas. Hello, Ash. Good morning to you, beautiful goddess, Melissa. So lovely to see you. Pamela, lovely to see you here as well. So just wanted to give you an update and just say thank you, how much I appreciate you, all of you beautiful divine goddesses. Sherry, a big shout out to you, Sherry, for posting the video out to all your beautiful divine feminine goddesses. You know, the more that we support each other, the more that this world becomes a better place, whether we're divine feminine goddesses supporting each other, which is so important, and it's something that I talk about in my course, the divine, celebrating and shining the divine feminine goddess Wombin in you. And this is in part where I put this chant that I released yesterday from. It was something that channeled through me a couple of years ago, and I included it in my course. It's, you know, divine feminine and divine masculine alike, the more that we support each other and love each other and see the God or the source and the master artist within, the better off that we will be. Because at the heart of it, you know, all of us, all we ever really want is to be loved and held and heard and nurtured and supported, uplifted, and to know that we see the God within each other, regardless of, you know, issues, you know. And so this is something that I wanted to talk about today, because this is also inspired by a beautiful divine feminine goddess who posted in response to my post last evening. Interestingly enough, I think this has been, oh, I don't know, I've lost track. I think it's probably been about maybe 3 weeks or so. I've had these channels that come in just every night. The channels usually just come through me unless I'm posting something from my books or something like that. They usually come through me on a daily basis anyway. But inspired kind of by Thich Nhat Hanh in a sense, he does these breathing meditations where it's like breathing in, I smile. And I think that's kind of the one I started out with maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago now. And breathing in, I smile, breathing out, I continue to smile, or whatever it is that he does, but it's something along those lines. And I felt just inspired by that. And so these channels, like every evening, sometime usually between 10 and maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, usually come through, and they're just very simple channels. It's just, breathing in, I'm breathing in the essence of appreciation. Breathing out, I'm breathing in the, breathing out, letting go of, things that no longer serve. And breathing in, it's a sense of appreciation. Breathing out, I give that to the world. A lot of you have been seeing them and have been sharing them, and I really appreciate that. Hello, Tristan. Hello, Kali. Hello, Leah. And Nagendra, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Fantastic to see you all here. So this one was inspired actually by a divine masculine God. He is a beautiful man, a beautiful soul who I am mentoring, who also is my near twin, one of my near twins. And he's going through a lot of shifts and changes in his life. And so for those of you who didn't see it last evening, what I posted was breathing in, I allow myself to feel whatever is moving through me, being fully present to it. Breathing out, I release and I let it go. And so one of the beautiful divine feminine goddesses that I love dearly from Canada, from my home, my original home, Scotland here is my home as well. She really needed this and appreciated it. And so I felt called to respond in a way to what she was going through, because she had written about the fact that she had experienced something with her father having an accident in which he survived, and it was a miracle that he survived. And my near twin is, going through some difficulties in actually moving from his head or his mind into his heart, and really feeling. And so what it brought up in my mentoring him last evening is what I really wanted to share with you. And it's something I've talked about many, many times. I have loads of videos, I have channels about it, writings, my own experience. This specific thing on the air, I think, as well, in all the years that I've done radio. It's been, gosh, like 20 years I've done radio. And so it's something personal that happened in my life which actually caused me to come into this knowing. And it's about being in the present moment of feeling it full out. Now, those of you who have watched my videos on YouTube, I've had my YouTube channel, I've realized this, that I've had my YouTube channel for like 13 years or something ridiculous like that. I think it's like 2006, so we're coming up now on 13 years. And pardon the noise going on, I have my window open right now. So it's been interesting with the YouTube videos, how they've evolved and whatnot, but I've talked about this, about being as a child and feeling full out, whatever it is that you're meant to feel in the moment. And I liken it to a child that has a tantrum. And so when a child has a tantrum, if you remember from being a child, and it's interesting that the car that's moving right now, out of our car park, it's like the roaring. What happens when a child has a tantrum? They're just roaring. They're having a moment, they're having a right fit about something, maybe it's they can't have a sweetie or a cake or a cookie along those lines, and mum or dad has said, you know, no, you can't have this, or you can have it after dinner, or what have you. And so we as children have a right fit about it. But then what happens like 5 minutes later? 5 minutes later, we're back in happiness, love, enjoy in the moment. And we don't hold on to those things. You know, we just let it go. And you know, we just move forward and we enjoy our life, and we're back into imagination, and we're back into love and excitement. So it's not, as children, it's not something we hold on to. We as adults, we hold on to it and we reactivate things. And no, it's not about reactivating, it's sharing an experience so that you can come to understand where I came into this wisdom. And I'm seeing a bunch of hearts. Jacqueline, lovely to see you. Hello, Sandra, lovely to see you as well. So here's the thing. How I deeply came into this wisdom was raising my own children, and my eldest son in particular. My eldest son, and this was almost 30 years ago now, when he was wee. He was 2, and we were living in a flat at the time, and we had an electrical fire in our flat. And it was very traumatic, and as a result, it was while he was sleeping. And I had gone downstairs to grab the post, and I was talking to the caretaker or management of the flats that we lived in at the time, and she was a good friend, and you know, we often chatted up and whatnot, and I was stood outside having a chat with her. And I felt this intuition, this like, I can't even say terror, but I knew something was wrong, for lack of a better word. Just, you know, your children, you know, something's, you know, wrong. So he was napping, you know, in the room while I was chatting with this woman downstairs. And I just immediately had this intuition, I have to go. And I just said to her, I have to go. And I made it up the stairs in time. Black-filled smoke, opened the flat door, black-filled smoke, couldn't even really see anything. Crawled my way on my hands and knees to his bedroom, which was quite a ways into the flat, to find him and rescue him, and we both barely got out alive. And he experienced a lot of trauma as a result of this, because at the time he was a late bloomer. He was just, it was just before he had turned 2. Just before he had turned 3. And so he was a late bloomer in terms of talking and whatnot. And he went from just beginning to talk to completely becoming silent. He was mute. And was that way for about 1.5 years after this happened. And so we had him in therapy for various things, complications from physical aspects as well, which I'm not going to get into right now. But it was very traumatic, and he suffered from PTSD as a result of it. I had some trauma related to it that I needed to heal as well, because it brought up other lives for me. Of course, the trauma in this life that, you know, I had almost lost my son, that I was alone. My husband and I were married at that point. We had only been married for a wee while, and we had just actually moved to this flat a couple of months prior. And we had moved for his job. And so the thing was that I was alone, though, because he was working so much. And so it was very traumatic, you know, for me as well, and I had to heal from that. But one of the things that helped, and this is something I share about this in my Divine Feminine Goddess course as well, but one of the things that helped was getting in the present moment. And bless this therapist that we had, before we had to move house again, we were called away quite a few 100 kilometers away for his job again, but we had her as a therapist for about 8 months or so. And we had this absolutely beautiful book that she had recommended to us. And it's the story of this wee lass, and she could be more than maybe 3, 4, 5. And her name is Jessica, and the book is called Jessica and the Wolf. And it's a story about, and I'm going to paraphrase it, basically she has a fear of wolves. And she had night terrors, which is what my son was having, my eldest son at the time was having, related to this fire that we had. And so she creates, with the help of her father, this magic wand. And basically, it's turning around and facing her fears is the gist of it. She stands there and she faces it, and it's so she actually feels it. And this is what we had to come into understanding with my son, and also for me. I had to stand and actually face it. I was running from that fear. I got so into, I have to help him to heal. I have to, you know, get things sorted. I mean, loads of doctors, because he had some physical issues regarding what happened. We were, you know, constantly back and forth to the doctor trying to get things sorted. I couldn't do the natural health methods at that point because I was married to a man who wasn't into any of that. And so I kind of put all that to the side. And so I was running around, and I was avoiding. I was avoiding feeling my own pain. I was avoiding feeling the fear that I felt in those moments, the fear of losing my life, fear of losing my son's life, just loads of things I was avoiding feeling. And it took this book all these years ago, reading it to my son, thinking, oh, I'm helping him to heal, when I realized, oh, I looked within, I needed to heal. And so it's really about being in the present moment and feeling. You may have heard the saying around feeling to heal. You know, you need to feel to heal. So many of us, and I've done loads of videos on YouTube about this and written things about this over the years. And this is also inspired by a bloke that I just became friends with on Facebook, who was sharing a video on his Facebook fan page about that I was watching about addictions. So I've done a lot of work with addictions. I've been around addictions my entire life. My family is comprised of addictions. My father was a work addict and an emotionally abusive man, although he had a loving side to him and the compassionate side to him still. And you know, those are the things that I take and cherish and have compassion for him. But my mother, a prescription drug addict, the rest of my mom's family are alcoholics or drug dealers, drug addicts. My own cousin committed suicide in 2011, pardon me, it's summer solstice 2011, actually with drugs and alcohol. My great aunt, who was my father's aunt, was a very abusive alcoholic, and I remember many times as a child hiding under my bed. I had this beautiful mahogany wood bed that was my grand's, and it, you know, was off the floor quite a ways, and I would hide under there for fear of being beaten by her. I was already beaten by my mother as a child as it was. And severely abused. But on the times when she was child-minding me and my brother, you know, I often felt that way because she would get into a drunken state. And when I was 12, I saved her from going through a sliding glass door that led to our back garden because she was in such a drunken state. So I'm sharing all of this with you not to reactivate, as I was sharing earlier, but to give you a context that I know and understand about addictions. And my mum also was a smoker for many years. And so behind the addiction is what you're running from. My own twin soul, he would never say that he was that he is a recovering alcoholic, but since December 7th of 2011, he has and is a recovering alcoholic. He always says he took his vibrant health to the next level after drinking for 30 some odd years. And I honor him for that. I've been around addictions, and I've helped many with addictions. And the underlying cause of all addiction is, what are you running from? And whether it's addiction to food, addiction to sex, addiction to alcohol, drugs, work, you know, you name it, whatever it is, an addiction is all because you're running away from something. You're running away and avoiding, hiding it, not hiding the addiction, but in some cases you can hide the addiction, but hiding from what it is that you're meant to feel. And it's very painful. And I can understand where those people are coming from, because I've experienced so much pain in my life, and I stuffed it down through other means. Grieving with my original twin soul who was killed, I stuffed it down into a loveless marriage, have 4 beautiful children, but nonetheless, you know, in that was a way of running. And last summer, I have a dear friend down in England who invited me to her festival to speak at and to do sessions for. And I did, and she was just running around here and there. And of course it was the festival, and I understand that. But she never had the opportunity to actually sit down. And so I said to her at one point, I said, do me a favor, can you just come sit with me for a minute and just be? And she was like, no, I can't. And I was like, why can't you? And she says, because if I do, then I would have to feel. So we can utilize just running here and there, and you know, it doesn't even have to be an addiction. It can be just literally running away from, you know. And when we come into being in our inner soul child, we be as that child having a tantrum. We feel it full out in the moment. We be with it. We be with that pain. And there's this miracle, this amazement of something that happens, like that book, Jessica and the Wolf. She turned around and she faced her fear, and then the wolf disappeared. So it's like when we actually get in the present moment and feel what it is that we're avoiding, because that's what we're avoiding. We're avoiding hurt, we're avoiding pain, we're avoiding grief, we're avoiding, you know, sometimes even love, because we're afraid to love, because we're afraid we're going to lose that love, right? So whatever it is that you're running from, if you can actually be in the present moment, that's the sweet spot. That's where healing occurs. If you can be with it in just saying, I'm hurting, I'm in pain, I'm grieving right now, free from the story. And this is something I teach in my Divine Feminine God course, but I felt so called to share this with you, all of you now, Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine alike. Free from being about the story of it. So I shared my story with you just to give you a context so that you understood something. And I'm not feeling that hurt and that pain in the moment because I healed it. And this is how you know you've healed something, when you can look back and you're no longer triggered emotionally, and then you can utilize it as a catalyst to help others. When you can just be with it without the story. So I shared my story with you about, you know, the abuse, about, you know, addictions, things of that nature in my life. Yet I wasn't emotionally charged with it. I wasn't like, oh my God, my father's this, or oh my God, this, or oh my God, my cousin this, you know. It wasn't that way, right? That's how you know you've healed it. But it's simply about being in the moment with it, free from the story, free from why you feel that hurt, that pain, that grief, that sadness, free from any of it, just feeling it and naming it. Acknowledging it. I am in pain right now. I am hurting. When I was 15, I was raped. So my father, being the emotionally abusive man that he was, he told me I deserved it. Originally, he thought I was with this bloke that was in our neighborhood, and he thought that I had been with this bloke. And while I fancied him and he fancied me, it wasn't even the case. And so then he had turned around and told me I deserved it. So when I went to go heal that, I had to sit with that pain and that hurt, that, oh my God, my father said that to me, you know? And so when I did, I mean, I just fully felt it. Just like a child having a tantrum, I felt that sadness, that grieving, that my father wasn't really there for me, that the only father who is really there for me and the mother that's really there for me is Source. But I had to come to the basic level of understanding first, of really feeling that pain, that, oh my God, my father wasn't there for me. He told me I deserved that. You know, what parent does that? What kind of thing? I had to feel my anger. I was like, oh my God, you know, I had to feel it in the moment, just like a child having a tantrum. And the very act of actually being present with it, without the story, just, I'm angry. I'm angry at the man who raped me. I'm angry at, you know, my former husband because of him taking my children from me. and using them as a possession, so I haven't seen them. You know, I had to go through and experience that. And then what happens is there's this magic. It's like I feel heard. I feel heard, not because somebody else heard me share this, but because I heard me and Source heard me. I felt heard. And then it was just like, it disappears. And then you go back into this place of feeling love, just like the inner soul child playing and you know, in this miraculous place of love and creativity and imagination and everything else. And that is how we heal. And this bloke, I think his name is Jay, forgive me if I get the name incorrect, but I had just become friends with him on Facebook. This is kind of what he was talking about. He was talking about addictions and the 12-step program and how he had to reach beyond that to heal. That the 12-step program is absolutely wonderful for those beginning on that addiction recovery process, and because it's wonderful to have those 12 steps. But he was saying, you know, there comes a point in your growth that you need to on that and from recovery mode to actually healing. And so this is what I'm sharing with you in terms of feeling it to heal. And I hope that this inspires you to heal whatever it is, even if you are free from having any addictions. And if you're struggling with something in your life, anything, you know, this is something that you can apply. And I hope this, you know, helps you. Jacqueline, thank you for your loving comments. Love what you're doing, she says. Oh, bless you. Your energy is very gentle. Oh, thank you. You're such a beautiful goddess. You said it's a shame there was so much, it's a shame there are so many feeling but not healing. Exactly, and this is why I feel called to this video with you, you know, live here on Facebook. We are, let's see, we as enlightened beings should be doing more of this. Indeed. And because it's absolutely wonderful, thank you for saying that, Jacqueline. It's absolutely wonderful to have somebody there for you. And, you know, this is something that I do, and I did a post on this recently about healing, you know, and somebody being there for you to facilitate the process. I do that. That's what I do as a mentor. A lot of that work that I do with people is getting to the inner soul child hood wounds that are usually primarily in this life, but there are other lives that are reflections of it where these same patterns are occurring. So I help by facilitating, by being there, you know, to hear you, what maybe you're unable to do. And so if you're unable to do this process that I'm speaking of yourself and you struggle with it still, you know, I'm here to help. And so feel free to, you know, connect with me and I can walk you through the process and be there, because sometimes we just need somebody to be there to hear us. You know, and I completely understand that. Will, welcome. Liam, welcome. We are all addicts, Jacqueline says, for something, yeah, coffee, gambling, sex, self-harm, pill popping, you know, yeah, you name it, right? You know, you said you feel it's actually fear everything and run. There's a couple of face everything and recover. That's a good one too. I haven't heard the face everything and recover. Fear is, I've heard false evidence appearing real. And also you can, what's the other one? There's one, it's not fear everything and run, but it's something else along those lines, where you run or face everything and rise instead of recover. I can't remember the first part, but it's, you know, having to do with, you know, running away in that sense. So yeah, we have that ability to face everything and rise, and this is, you know, what I wanted to share with you in that regard. And I just happened to notice that all the I've been recording, I wanted to record more in the sun, actually, because the sun is out right now. I just realized there's this beautiful rainbow that's coming through on the live feed. How brilliant is that? Fantastic. So lastly, what I wanted to do while this rainbow is, you know, shining so beautifully is to share with you some sound healing in Lemurian light language. So I'm just going to sing and channel whatever's coming through, and may this be the gift of healing and revealing for you in holding space for yourself and for others. Giant Munshikela Mushikela Ayano May the gift of this first eve of the full moon in Pisces, the opposite sign of mine, Pisces is my twin soul, Pisces is also my near twin. May this beautiful full moon in Pisces, as we move into Virgo, my birth month, be a shining reflection of the light of love that you are, revealing more and more of your soul song so that you shine the magnificence you are, because you are so incredibly beautiful. Thank you for joining me today, tonight, this moment, the present moment, the Om, the one moment, wherever you are in this world. And thank you for communing with me. And even if you see this on archive later, we're still communing in that love. The energy, the vibrational frequency essence is there. I love you all. Thank you. I appreciate you. You are beautiful and amazing. Espada. Namaste. I love you.